The Galactic Empire begged for mercy after killing a human child. Their pleas fell on deaf ears. Sirens wailed across the human colony world of Nova Prime as debris rained from the sky. Smoke billowed from the main settlement, its buildings reduced to rubble by orbital bombardment. Among the wreckage lay the body of 8-year-old Mia Henderson, her small form crushed beneath fallen concrete. Volar, a high-ranking Daxamite official, watched the destruction unfold from his command ship. His mandibles clicked nervously as he realized his grave error. The settlement he'd ordered destroyed was no military installation, but a civilian outpost. His routine inspection had turned into a massacre. Adam Henderson, Mia's father, and a respected human diplomat, crawled from the ruins of their home. His body was battered, bones broken, but he lived. As medics rushed to his aid, Adam's anguished cries for his daughter echoed through the devastated streets. News of the unprovoked attack spread rapidly through human-controlled space. Outrage ignited across countless worlds as the death toll mounted. Mia's story, an innocent child murdered by alien aggressors, became a rallying cry for vengeance. The United Earth government convened an emergency session. Military commanders presented evidence of Daxamite culpability, including intercepted communications and sensor readings. As diplomats debated retaliation, fleet movements were already detected along the borders of Daxamite space. On the Daxamite homeworld, Volar frantically worked to cover his tracks. He ordered subordinates to alter records and destroy evidence. Desperate to hide his role in the catastrophe, the High Council, initially dismissive of human protests, grew alarmed as other alien races condemned the attack. Adam Henderson, still reeling from his injuries and loss, accepted a new mission. As Earth's special envoy to the Galactic Council, he would present humanity's case and demand justice from the Daxamite Empire. His grief fueled a burning determination to hold Mia's killers accountable. Human colonies initiated planet-wide defense drills. Weapons research facilities reported increased funding and activity. The long-dormant war machine of humanity groaned to life, preparing for potential conflict with the technologically superior Daxamites. Unbeknownst to the Empire, human intelligence agencies had already compiled damning evidence of the attack. Surveillance footage, communications intercepts, and eyewitness accounts painted a clear picture of Volar's direct involvement. This information would soon be presented to the Galactic Council, leaving the Daxamites with nowhere to hide. As tensions escalated, the Daxamite High Council realized the gravity of their situation. Their vast empire, long considered untouchable, now faced the wrath of a species they had grievously underestimated. Internal discussions began on how to address the crisis, but it was already too late. Across human space, Mia Henderson's name became synonymous with innocence destroyed. Her image, a smiling child in a school photo, appeared on newscasts and protest signs alike. The humans, once considered a minor player in galactic politics, now stood united in their demand for retribution. The Galactic Empire had made a fatal mistake. They had killed a human child, and now they would face the consequences. As Adam Henderson prepared to address the Galactic Council, the Daxamites were about to learn a harsh lesson. Humanity's capacity for vengeance far outweighed their enemies' pleas for mercy. Adam Henderson's eyes fixed on the distant stars as his transport ship approached Nexus. The gleaming spires of the Galactic Council headquarters pierced the planet's atmosphere, a testament to the united aspirations of countless civilizations. His bandaged hands trembled slightly as he adjusted his formal attire, the weight of humanity's future pressing heavily upon his shoulders. The ship's comms crackled to life. "Ambassador Henderson, we're receiving transmission requests from multiple media outlets. How would you like to proceed?" Adam took a deep breath. "Decline politely. We'll address the press after the council session." As the ship docked, a sea of faces greeted him, some human, many alien. Cameras whirred and flashed, capturing every step of his descent onto Nexus soil. A tall, willowy figure with iridescent skin approached, bowing slightly. "Ambassador Henderson, I am Xerax, representative of the Xyraxian consensus. We extend our condolences for your loss and the tragedy that has befallen your people." Adam nodded, his voice steady despite the emotions roiling within. "Thank you, Representative. I look forward to addressing the Council and seeking justice for all those affected by the Daxamite attack." As they walked towards the Council chambers, Adam's mind raced. The last few weeks had been a blur of grief, pain, and feverish preparation. He'd pored over diplomatic protocols and historical precedents, determined to present humanity's case with unwavering clarity. Meanwhile, on Earth, Marcus Steele hunched over a holographic display in a windowless room deep beneath Langley. The newly appointed director of Galactic Security scrutinized a web of connections, each thread representing a piece of intelligence painstakingly gathered from across the galaxy. "Sir," a young analyst approached, datapad in hand, "we've received confirmation from our asset on Daxam Prime. The defecting officer is ready for extraction." Steele's eyes narrowed. "Initiate protocol Shadowfall. I want that officer on Earth soil within 36 hours. As Steele's team worked tirelessly to unravel the Daxamite conspiracy, Dr. Elena Reeves stood before a shimmering energy field in her subterranean Martian laboratory. Sweat beaded on her brow as she manipulated a series of complex controls. "Initiating test sequence," she announced to her team of engineers and physicists. "Daxamite weapon signature loaded. Deploying countermeasure in 3, 2, 1. A blinding flash filled the chamber. When it faded, the energy field remained intact, rippling slightly where the simulated Daxamite blast had struck. Elena's face broke into a triumphant smile. "We did it! Project Phoenix is operational." Back on Nexus, Adam Henderson stood before the assembled Galactic Council. Representatives from 100 worlds gazed down at him, their expressions a mix of curiosity, sympathy, and in some cases, thinly veiled hostility. "Esteemed members of the Council," Adam began, his voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber, "I come before you not just as a representative of Earth, but as a father who has lost his child to an act of unprovoked aggression." As Adam spoke, presenting evidence and testimony with unwavering persistence, a storm was brewing in Daxamite space. Emperor Zaxalor, his ornate robes disheveled, paced nervously in a hidden bunker beneath the Imperial Palace. "Your Majesty," a loyal general approached, bowing low, "Volar's forces have taken control of the orbital defense grid. We've lost contact with 3 outlying colonies." Zaxalor's mandibles clicked in agitation. "How could this happen? How did we not see the rot spreading within our own ranks?" Before the general could respond, a deafening explosion rocked the bunker. Alarms blared as royal guards rushed to secure the Emperor. "We must evacuate immediately, Your Majesty," the general urged. "Admiral Krenthor's ships have entered the system." As chaos engulfed the Daxamite homeworld, Adam Henderson received an urgent transmission in the midst of his address to the Council. He paused, touching the communication device in his ear. "Counselors, I've just received critical information from Earth Intelligence," Adam announced, his heart racing. "It appears the Daxamite Empire has descended into civil war. The official responsible for the attack on our colony, one Commander Volar, has launched a coup against Emperor Zaxalor." A murmur of shock rippled through the council chambers. Adam pressed on, seizing the moment. "This turn of events only underscores the danger posed by an unstable and aggressive Daxamite regime. I implore this council to take immediate action, not just for humanity's sake, but for the safety and stability of the entire galaxy." As the council erupted into heated debate, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Invictus, flagship of the United Earth Navy. A holographic display showed the positions of her fleet, arrayed in a complex 3-dimensional formation along the borders of Daxamite space. "Status of Operation Shadow?" Chen asked, her voice calm but edged with tension. Her executive officer responded crisply, "All ships report ready, Admiral. Stealth systems are fully operational. The Daxamites remain unaware of our true numbers and capabilities." Chen nodded, her eyes fixed on the swirling chaos of Daxamite space displayed before her. "Maintain current positions. Be prepared to move on my command." As humanity poised on the brink of a new era in galactic politics, the echoes of a child's laughter, now silenced forever, continued to drive the inexorable march towards a reckoning long overdue. The Galactic Council chamber erupted into chaos as Adam Henderson's revelation about the Daxamite Civil War sank in. Representatives from 100 worlds shouted over each other, demanding action, explanations, or simply venting their shock. Adam stood firm at the podium, his grief-hardened willpower carrying him through the tumult. As the clamor subsided, a tall, serpentine alien with iridescent scales rose from her seat. "The Sarathi Confederation recognizes the gravity of this situation," she hissed, her forked tongue flicking between razor-sharp teeth. "We propose an immediate vote on the formation of a joint peacekeeping force." The motion passed with overwhelming support. Adam's datapad buzzed with an incoming transmission from Earth. He excused himself and stepped into a private alcove, activating the secure channel. Director Marcus Steele's holographic form materialized before him. "Henderson, you've done well. The Council's decision plays right into our hands. Admiral Chen is initiating Operation Shadow as we speak." Adam nodded, a mix of satisfaction and apprehension crossing his features. "And Project Phoenix?" "Dr. Reeves reports full success. Production is already underway. Our ships will be equipped with the new tech before they enter Daxamite space." As Adam returned to the Council chamber to hammer out the details of humanity's involvement in the peacekeeping force, events were unfolding rapidly across the galaxy. On the bridge of the UES Invictus, Admiral Sarah Chen surveyed the holographic display of Daxamite space. A sea of red indicators represented known enemy positions, while clusters of blue marked the gathering Allied fleets. "Initiate Phase 1, Chen ordered, her voice steady and determined. At her command, dozens of stealth-equipped human vessels shimmered and vanished from the display. Only the most sensitive instruments could detect their silent passage as they slipped past Daxamite sensor nets and into enemy territory. Lieutenant Commander Akira Tanaka piloted one such ship, the UES Shadowhawk, on approach to the Daxamite stronghold of Vexthor. His hands danced across the controls, making minute adjustments to maintain their stealth field. "All systems nominal," his AI co-pilot reported. "No indication of detection." Tanaka allowed himself a small smile. "Beginning mapping sequence. Let's see what secrets the Daxamites are hiding." As human intelligence gathering operations penetrated deeper into Daxamite space, Dr. Elena Reeves supervised the loading of the last batch of neutralizer devices onto a transport ship at her Mars facility. "Careful with those," she snapped as a technician nearly dropped a crate. "Each one of these could mean the difference between victory and defeat out there." The technician nodded sheepishly and secured the crate. Elena sighed, running a hand through her disheveled hair. She hadn't slept in days, working tirelessly to perfect the technology that could save countless lives in the coming conflict. A priority message flashed on her comm unit. It was from Admiral Chen requesting a video conference. Elena quickly made her way to the secure communication room and activated the link. Chen's face appeared on the screen, her expression grave. "Doctor, we've received intelligence about a Daxamite superweapon. I need to know if your neutralizers can be adapted to counter it." Elena's mind raced, considering the possibilities. "Possibly, but I'd need more data on the weapon's specifications. What do we know?" As Chen briefed her on the limited information available, Elena's fingers flew across a nearby console, running simulations and calculations. "I'll need time, but I think we can make it work. I'll begin modifications immediately." Meanwhile, in the Zethrak system, the first major engagement of the conflict was underway. The Daxamite rebel fleet hung in orbit around the system's second planet, a massive energy shield shimmering around their formation. Admiral Chen's voice crackled through the comms of every human and allied ship. "All units execute Battle Plan Theta. Stealth units move into position. All other ships prepare to engage on my mark." Captain Liam O'Neill of the UES Excalibur gripped his command chair tightly. His ship carried a full complement of the new neutralizer devices, and they were about to see their first real combat test. "Helm, take us in. Full impulse," O'Neill ordered. "Weapons, stand by to deploy neutralizers on my command." The rebel Daxamite fleet remained oblivious to the approaching danger, their sensors unable to penetrate the human ship's stealth fields. Suddenly, alarms blared across their vessels as the human fleet shimmered into view, already inside their defensive perimeter. "Now," Chen's voice rang out. O'Neill leaned forward in his chair. "Fire neutralizers!" Brilliant pulses of energy erupted from the Excalibur and her sister ships, enveloping the nearest Daxamite vessels. The rebels' energy weapons sputtered and died, leaving them defenseless against the follow-up barrage of conventional weapons. The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. Human ships danced between lumbering Daxamite cruisers, their superior maneuverability and neutralizer technology proving devastatingly effective. As news of the defeat spread across Daxamite space, Emperor Zaxalor seized the moment. From a hidden bunker on a loyal colony world, he broadcast a message to his people. "Citizens of the Daxamite Empire," Zaxalor's mandibles clicked with barely suppressed fury. "The traitor Volar has brought shame and ruin upon us. His unprovoked attack on a human civilian colony has invited the wrath of not just humanity, but the entire Galactic Council. I call upon all loyal Daxamites to reject this madman and his followers. Together, we will restore honor to our great empire." The Emperor's words, combined with the shocking defeat at Zethrak, sent shockwaves through the rebel ranks. Entire fleets and planetary garrisons declared their loyalty to Zaxalor, leaving Volar's support crumbling. Volar, his plans unraveling, retreated to the heavily fortified world of Kreldor. In a secret facility deep beneath the planet's surface, he stood before a massive device dripping with alien technology. "Accelerate the final preparations," he barked at the team of scientists. "If I cannot rule the Empire, then no one will." As Volar issued his ultimatum to the Galactic Council, Director Marcus Steele assembled his team for the desperate mission to Kreldor. In a briefing room aboard the stealth carrier UES Nighthawk, Steele addressed the gathered operatives. "Make no mistake, this is a suicide mission." Steele's eyes swept across the room, meeting the determined gazes of human and alien commandos. "But if we fail, billions will die. Any questions?" Zarkol, the Zyraxian infiltration specialist, raised a tentacle. "What is our insertion plan? Kreldor's defenses are formidable." Steele nodded, activating a holographic display of the target. "We'll be using a combination of your natural abilities and our most advanced stealth tech. Dr. Reeves is en route with a modified neutralizer that should, in theory, disable the superweapon." As the team delved into the mission details, Dr. Elena Reeves's shuttle docked with the Nighthawk. She hurried to the briefing room, clutching a case containing the modified neutralizer. "Director Steele," Elena interrupted, her face pale with exhaustion but her eyes bright with commitment. "I've done all I can with the limited data we have. This device should work, but there's no way to be certain until we're face-to-face with the weapon." Steele took the case, his expression grim. "It'll have to do. We launch in 30 minutes. Get ready, people. The fate of the stars rests in our hands." As the strike team made their final preparations, Admiral Chen's fleet took up position around the Kreldor system, ready to intervene if the covert operation failed. On 100 worlds, citizens of every species held their breath, waiting to see if the crisis would end in peace or devastating war. The clock ticked down on Volar's ultimatum as the UES Nighthawk slipped silently through Kreldor's outer defenses, carrying with it the hopes of billions. The UES Nighthawk sliced through Kreldor's atmosphere, its advanced stealth systems rendering it invisible to the planet's defense grid. Inside the ship's hold, Director Marcus Steele and his team made final preparations for their infiltration mission. Zarkol, the Zyraxian infiltration specialist, extended a tentacle towards the holographic display of their target. "The facility's outer defenses are formidable, but I believe I can create an entry point here," he said, indicating a maintenance access shaft. Steele nodded, his face etched with grit. "Good. Once we're inside, we move fast and quiet. Remember, people, we're here to stop that superweapon at all costs." As the Nighthawk touched down in a secluded valley, the team disembarked, their nanofiber suits blending seamlessly with the rocky terrain. Zarkol took point, his chameleonic skin shifting to match the dull gray of the facility's outer walls. Using a combination of Earth's most advanced stealth tech and Zarkol's natural abilities, the team bypassed the perimeter sensors undetected. They moved swiftly through the access shaft, the Zyraxian's tentacles manipulating security systems with uncanny precision. As they approached the central research facility, Steele's comm unit crackled to life. Admiral Chen's voice came through, tense but controlled. "Steele, be advised. We've engaged rebel forces in orbit, drawing their attention away from you, but expect increased internal security." "Copy that, Admiral," Steele whispered. "We're proceeding as planned." The team pressed on, their path taking them deeper into the heart of the facility. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with a squad of Volar's elite guards. For a split second, both sides froze in surprise. Then chaos erupted. Energy weapons discharged, filling the corridor with searing light. Steele dove for cover behind a jutting bulkhead, returning fire with his pulse rifle. Beside him, a human operative named Rodriguez went down, a smoking hole in his chest. "Push forward," Steele shouted over the din of battle. "We can't let them bog us down." Zarkol surged ahead, his tentacles lashing out with incredible speed. The Zyraxian grabbed two Daxamite guards, slamming them together with bone-crushing force. Another of Steele's operatives, a Srathi named Sisvek, spat a glob of corrosive venom, melting through a guard's armor. The firefight was intense but brief. Steele's team, though bloodied, emerged victorious. But the cost had been high. Half of his strike force lay dead or wounded in the corridor behind them. "Seal those wounds and keep moving," Steele ordered, helping a limping teammate to her feet. "We're almost there." They pushed on, the sounds of battle growing louder as they neared the weapons control center. Steele's remaining team burst through the final set of blast doors, weapons at the ready. There, in the cavernous chamber beyond, stood the imposing figure of Commander Volar. The Daxamite leader's eyes widened in shock at the human intrusion, then narrowed with rage. "You're too late," Volar snarled, his hand slamming down on a nearby console. Alarms blared throughout the facility. "The weapon is already armed. In minutes, your pathetic species will be nothing but a memory." Steele raised his weapon, but Volar was already moving, ducking behind a cluster of humming power conduits. The remaining members of Steele's team spread out, exchanging fire with Volar's personal guard. "Zarkol!" Steele shouted over the chaos. "See if you can access that terminal. We need to shut this thing down." The Zyraxian slithered across the chamber, tentacles flying over the alien controls. "I'm in the system," Zarkol reported, his voice strained with concentration. "But there's a failsafe. If I try to power down the weapon, it'll trigger a meltdown." Steele cursed, ducking as an energy blast seared the air above his head. "Do it anyway. We can't let that weapon launch." Zarkol hesitated for a moment, then began the shutdown sequence. Instantly, new alarms joined the cacophony. The chamber shuddered as deep within the facility, fusion reactors began to overload. "You fools!" Volar's voice rang out, triumphant despite the danger. "You've doomed us all. When this facility goes, it'll irradiate half the continent." Steele's mind raced, searching for options. His comm unit chirped, and he answered it while firing a burst at a charging Daxamite guard. "Steele!" It was Admiral Chen again. "We've received a transmission from Emperor Zaxalor. He's offering unconditional surrender in exchange for our help stopping the meltdown." "Tell him he's got a deal," Steele grunted, ducking behind a console. "But we need Dr. Reeves here now if we're going to have any chance of containing this." "Already on it," Chen replied. "She's en route via FTL shuttle. ETA 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes stretched into an eternity. Steele and his remaining operatives fought a desperate holding action against Volar's forces, the chamber slowly filling with acrid smoke from damaged equipment. The facility's superstructure groaned ominously, hairline cracks appearing in the walls as the meltdown progressed. Just as Steele's team was about to be overwhelmed, the chamber's emergency access hatch burst open. Dr. Elena Reeves stumbled in, clutching a modified neutralizer device. "I need access to the main reactor controls," she shouted, her eyes wild with a mixture of fear and drive. Steele and Zarkol provided covering fire as Reeves sprinted to the central console. Her fingers flew over the controls, interfacing her device with the Daxamite systems. "It's not enough," she muttered, sweat beading on her forehead. "The containment field can't handle the energy output." Volar, seeing his plans crumbling, made a final desperate move. He vaulted over his cover, charging towards a secondary control panel. "If I'm going down, I'm taking you all with me," he roared. Steel intercepted him, tackling the Daxamite to the ground. They grappled furiously, rolling across the chamber floor. Volar's superior strength gave him the advantage, and he managed to reach out, entering a command sequence into the panel. A new alarm sounded, even more urgent than the others. Reeves looked up, her face pale. "He's triggered an immediate overload. We've got seconds before total containment failure." In that moment, Steele made his decision. He broke away from Volar, sprinting towards the main power coupling. "Reeves, reroute the excess energy through me." "That's insane," she protested. "It'll kill you." "Just do it." Reeves hesitated for a split second, then nodded grimly. She entered a rapid series of commands, and the power coupling began to glow with otherworldly energy. Steele grasped the coupling with both hands. Immediately, arcs of crackling energy engulfed his body. He screamed in agony, every nerve ending on fire, but he held on. Reeves worked frantically, using the extra seconds Steele's sacrifice bought her to stabilize the reactor. The facility's shuddering slowly subsided, the alarms fading one by one. As the last of the excess energy dissipated, Steele collapsed to the ground, his body smoking. Zarkol rushed to his side, cradling the human's head with a gentle tentacle. "Medical team to the control center, now!" Reeves shouted into her comm unit. She turned to where Volar lay, stunned by the failure of his plans. "It's over, Commander. Your empire has surrendered." As emergency responders flooded into the chamber, the full impact of what had just occurred began to sink in. Humanity had not only survived the Daxamite threat, but had emerged victorious. The once mighty empire now lay at their feet, its fate in human hands. Aboard the UES Invictus, Admiral Sarah Chen received confirmation of the mission's success. She allowed herself a moment of relief before turning to her executive officer. "Signal all ships. Prepare to begin planetfall operations on Kreldor. It's time to secure our victory." As human forces moved to occupy key Daxamite worlds, Adam Henderson stood before the Galactic Council, preparing to address the assembled representatives. The weight of history pressed down upon him as he considered the monumental task ahead, integrating a defeated empire into a new galactic order, with humanity at its center. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what shape this new era would take. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what shape this new era would take. Adam Henderson stepped up to the podium, his eyes scanning the assembled delegates of the Galactic Council. The chamber fell silent as he began to speak. "Distinguished representatives," Adam's voice rang out, clear and resolute. "We stand at a crossroads of history. The fall of the Daxamite Empire has left a power vacuum, one that we must fill not with fear or domination, but with cooperation and mutual respect." He paused, letting his words sink in. The delegates leaned forward, hanging on every syllable. "Earth proposes a new galactic order, one where all species have a voice, where technology and resources are shared for the benefit of all. But make no mistake," Adam's tone hardened slightly, "we will not tolerate aggression or tyranny. The custodianship of Daxamite territories comes with the responsibility to ensure peace and stability across known space." As Adam continued outlining humanity's vision, the chamber buzzed with whispered conversations. Some delegates nodded in agreement, while others exchanged wary glances. "The choice before us is clear," Adam concluded. "We can embrace this opportunity for unity, or we can retreat into isolation and mistrust. I ask you now to vote not just for the ratification of surrender terms, but for a brighter future for all our peoples." The council erupted into a flurry of activity as the voting commenced. Within minutes, the results were in. An overwhelming majority had voted in favor of Earth's proposal. As Adam shook hands with various delegates, his thoughts turned to the man whose sacrifice had made this moment possible. Back on Earth, Director Marcus Steele lay in a state-of-the-art medical pod, his body racked with tremors. Dr. Elena Reeves stood over him, her face a mask of willpower as she analyzed the latest test results. "His cellular structure is still deteriorating," she muttered to herself. "But if I can adapt the Daxamite regenerative techniques..." Elena's fingers flew over the holographic interface, making minute adjustments to the treatment protocols. She had barely left the lab in weeks, driven by a mix of guilt and admiration for Steele's selfless act. A soft groan from the pod caught her attention. Steele's eyes fluttered open, unfocused, and pained. "Rest, Director," Elena said softly, placing a hand on the pod's transparent cover. "I'm going to fix this, I promise." Steele managed a weak nod before slipping back into unconsciousness. Elena returned to her work with renewed vigor, determined to save the man who had saved them all. Months passed. On the former human colony world where Mia Henderson had died, a team of human and Daxamite engineers stood before the skeletal framework of a new settlement. Jaxlor, a young Daxamite architect, gestured excitedly as he explained his design to Sarah Chen, the human project lead. By incorporating elements of both our architectural styles, we create a space that's not just functional, but symbolic of our new alliance. Sarah nodded, impressed. "I like it. The open communal areas will encourage interaction between our peoples, and the modular living units can be easily customized for different species' needs." As they discussed the finer points of the design, a transport ship touched down nearby. A group of human and Daxamite families disembarked, their faces a mix of apprehension and hope as they surveyed their new home. Sarah approached them, extending her hand to a Daxamite mother cradling an infant. "Welcome to New Hope Colony. We're building something special here, and we're glad you're a part of it." The Daxamite woman hesitated for a moment, then took Sarah's hand. It was a small gesture, but one that held the promise of a shared future. Back on Earth in the specially designed lab, Dr. Elena Reeves stared at her screens in disbelief. After countless failed attempts, her latest treatment had shown remarkable results. "It's working," she whispered, her voice hoarse from lack of sleep. "It's actually working." She rushed to Steele's pod, her heart pounding. The director's vital signs were stabilizing, his cellular structure regenerating at an unprecedented rate. Elena activated the lab's comm system. "This is Dr. Reeves. I need a full medical team in Lab 7 immediately. Director Steele is waking up." As the medical team swarmed into the lab, Steele's eyes opened. This time they were clear and alert. "Did we win?" he croaked, his voice weak from disuse. Elena laughed, tears of relief streaming down her face. "Yes, Director. Thanks to you, we won." News of Steele's recovery spread quickly. Within hours, it had reached the far corners of Earth's new territories. On Kreldor, Emperor Zaxlor received the news with a mixture of relief and calculation. The once mighty Daxamite leader, now reduced to a figurehead, paced in his opulent but closely monitored chambers. Steele's recovery presented an opportunity, one that could reshape the future of both their species. Zaxlor activated his comm unit. "I need to arrange a meeting with Director Steele. It's time we discuss the future of Kreldor." As Zaxlor began drafting his proposal, Adam Henderson's shuttle touched down on the colony world where his daughter had died. He stepped out onto the soil, his heart heavy with memories. A mixed group of humans and Daxamites had gathered for the memorial dedication. Adam approached the veiled monument, his steps slow but purposeful. "We gather here today," he began, his voice carrying across the hushed crowd, "not just to remember those we've lost, but to honor their memory by building a better future." As Adam pulled away the veil, revealing a stunning sculpture of intertwined human and Daxamite hands reaching towards the stars, a sense of shared purpose settled over the assembled crowd. The healing process had begun. Light years away, on the Zeraxian homeworld, the High Council convened to discuss their next move. The fall of the Daxamite Empire and humanity's rise to prominence had shifted the galactic balance of power. "We must act," urged Counselor Zix, his tentacles rippling with agitation. "Humanity's influence grows by the day." The head counselor raised a calming appendage. "Indeed, we must act, but not out of fear. Humanity has shown itself to be different from the Daxamites. Perhaps it is time we extended a hand of true friendship." The council chamber filled with surprised murmurs. The head counselor continued, "I propose we offer them our terraforming technology. It will be a gesture of goodwill and a step towards a more balanced galactic community." As the Zyraxians debated this bold move, preparations were already underway on Earth for an event that would shape the course of galactic history. The first Galactic Unity Summit was set to begin, and delegates from across known space were arriving daily. In his office overlooking the sprawling summit venue, Adam Henderson put the finishing touches on his keynote speech. A gentle chime announced a visitor. "Come in," Adam called out, looking up from his work. Director Steele entered, moving with the slight stiffness of someone still adjusting to their own body. "Finalizing your big speech?" Adam nodded, gesturing for Steele to take a seat. "Just about. How are you feeling?" "Better every day," Steele replied, easing himself into a chair. "Dr. Reeves worked miracles, but I didn't come here to talk about my health." Adam raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Oh?" Steele leaned forward, his eyes bright with purpose. "I've been speaking with Emperor Zaxlor. He has an interesting proposal about the Kreldor facility." As the two men discussed the potential for turning a symbol of war into a beacon of scientific cooperation, the sun began to set over Earth. The planet glowed with the light of a new era, one filled with challenges, but also with unprecedented opportunities for growth and understanding. In orbit above, the first delegates for the Galactic Unity Summit were arriving, their ships forming a glittering constellation around humanity's homeworld. Among them was a Zyraxian vessel, carrying news that would open up new frontiers for human expansion and galactic cooperation. The stage was set for a new chapter in galactic history, with humanity poised to lead the way into an uncertain but promising future.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.